Good morning, Graham from London Stone here at the Verona Stone Fair. We're very lucky. It was nice and early this morning. Haven't really got any punters coming through. But I'm here this morning with Michael Poultney, and I'm just going to get him to give us a bit of an idea about Portland Stone and how he actually got involved with it, and a few facts and figures. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, morning, Graham. Great to see you in Verona. Albion Stone. I got involved. In fact, it's a family business. My grandfather bought the company in 1954, and I took over. My father was then running it for a number of years, and I took it over in the early 90s, and I've been running it since then. The company we took over in the early 90s is not very similar to the company we've got now. We were a quarrying company with the manufacturing works up in London, because London's the main market for Portland stone. But now we're a mining company. We've secured new reserves. We've got reserves for about 50 years. And we've taken the manufacturing operation down from London, the prime market, down to Portland and Dorset. And this gives us, the mining and the factory at Portland gives us an opportunity to reduce the carbon of the manufacture that we're doing. The difference between mining and quarrying is that with quarrying, you've got to remove all the overburden, and that takes a lot of diesel power, and diesel is really bad for the carbon footprint. But with mining, we're literally taking out the stone that we need. So we're actually just cutting it. If you imagine Portland, the island of Portland, the stone is a bit like a layer of jam in a sponge cake, and we're literally just taking that layer of jam out without having to take the big layer of sponge on the top of it. That's a useful analogy.
Okay.
And having the manufacturing down at Portland means that we have a very low carbon footprint from taking the blocks from the mine into the factory, and any offcuts then we can then just take straight back into the mine, which we then use for backfilling the mine. So the operation makes it very efficient.
Yeah, so I understand that you are having a real push towards as low carbon as possible, and I think that you've actually made some real strides over the past few years in how much you've actually reduced your carbon footprint.
Yeah, I think the moment we started going through mining, we worked with the Carbon Trust back in, I think it was about 2005 we started with them, 2008 we had some figures from them, and we realised then that we were getting to a lower carbon footprint. This would then encourage us to keep driving in that direction. Working with our landlord, the Crown Estate, we put about £500,000 worth of solar panels on the top of the factory. That reduced the carbon footprint for the manufacturer in the factory as well.
Yeah.
And the whole thing then, once you start on this journey towards low carbon, it encourages you to keep going. So we had the mining, the solar power on the factory, and then you start having to make slightly more difficult decisions. We had diesel generators powering the mine. We then switched over to made electricity in the UK. You have quite a percentage of renewable on made electricity in the UK. So that's getting up to now about 50%. So that reduced our carbon footprint as well. We also went for green tariffs, where we were only using green electricity. So both of those were actually quite expensive things for us to do. But long term, it gives us stability, more stability on the power price, and it reduces the carbon footprint of the whole thing. And then we started changing then what we're actually doing, the manufacturing in the factory. So we're reducing the wastage that we're getting from the factory, so that we had a perfectly good saw, the primary saw, which you obviously see down there. It's a big 3-metre blade. We'd had it in the factory for about 30 years, and it was just cutting on as well on the day that we took it out as the day we put it in, but it was a 17mm cut.
Wow.
So my production managers kept saying to me, Michael, we're probably putting something in the region of 150 cubic metres of stone into the slurry system as a result of the width of that cut. We put wire saws in and reduced it down to 8mm.
Yeah, okay.
And these are the more difficult decisions that you then have to make.
Expensive decisions.
Expensive decisions, yeah. Long term, they're a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And one of the things I also wanted to talk about is one of your sort of newer low carbon products, and that's the Heritage Portland Stone Brick.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about those. I think I'm quite excited about those for the Australian market.
So are we. So what we've got, the selection of our stone, it tends to be the architects want to have, they're happy to have a variety. So we'll have a Shelley stone or a clean stone, but what they don't want is they don't want a variety on a particular project. So we have to then do a selection of the stones at the actual mine face, which means the stones that the blocks that we tend not to process tend to be the ones that got a mix in geology.
Yeah.
We put those to one side, we think, okay, we'll use those another day. We keep putting these blocks to one side. So we've now coined the phrase, we call these our unloved blocks. Yeah. And what we're looking is to find a product that we could use these unloved blocks So the blocks where you've got a mixture between clean and shelly inside the individual block. And we've come up with the idea of doing stone bricks. And the industry has really taken it on board. We're securing some nice projects.
Yep.
And the carbon footprint of these is around about...
I think it was 75% less than a
75, yeah.
than a normal brick.
So the
Is that
carbon,
correct?
the carbon figure on these is 75%. Should we do that bit again?
No, it's,
You haven't cut it out
we've
yet.
got there anyway.
Okay.
We've got it there.
The carbon footprint is 75% less
Yeah.
than a normal brick, and it's twice as strong as a brick and around about the same sort of price. The tolerances are also better than you get on a normal brick.
Yeah, fantastic.
So we're securing projects. We've done a big private house in Dorset. We've just won a project right close to Westminster Cathedral in the City of London. We've got another one which is a project that's very focused on the environmental performance in Maidenhead, and we're discussing particularly a lot of private houses in London and across southern England.
Yeah, fantastic. And another one I thought I'd just talk about, while you was talking about the Portland stone bricks, is a bit about the geology within the mine. So there's basically 3 main layers in the mine, is that correct?
Yes, the geology splits it up. At the very top you get the roach, which is an extremely shelly stone.
Yeah, I'll just point, so with the camera you can see behind me, there's 3 stones there. From the top, it's the one with more shell in it, and then the middle one, a little bit less, and then the bottom one is a lot cleaner.
So when we talk about clean, what we talk about is the shell content in the stone. So when we talk of a clean stone, it's got very small shell fragments in it, very tight texture. And when we talk of a shelly stone, it's just got a lot of shell in it and a lot of voids. The stones have their applications, which really suits them. The base bed was also used to be called best bed, simply because you could use it for fine detail carving and memorial work. And that's probably what it's best suited for. Or for very high-end projects. The whip bed we've tended to use as a more building stone, paving applications, because it's very resistant to soil crystallization. And the roach is a very decorative stone.
Yeah, interesting. So with most of your projects, do you deal mainly with private clients, or is it architects that you deal with most? Or?
Well, the thing is, we tend to market towards architects, and we are getting more private clients come to talk to us, particularly on sort of residential projects. Portland stone traditionally has been used on commercial projects in the City of London, but even that's starting to change. People aren't demolishing buildings any longer, they're just putting extensions onto them, and they're reusing stone, which I think is that's all good for the environment. So we're speaking to architects, we speak to clients, we speak to private developers, but we end up selling the stone normally to a company that's going to be doing the design and fixing.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, that's maybe a good introduction to Portland Stone here at the Verona Stone Fair. Lovely talking to Michael. And what is your position with the company, Michael?
I'm
Managing Director. Great, excellent. So thanks again, Michael, for your time, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, Graham.
Cheers.